joining us today for our complimentary AI 3025 webinar focused on foundational skills with Copilot. We've got an awesome presenter with us today, Will Berkeley, who is one of our Microsoft certified trainers. And I will dive into a few housekeeping items to kick things off, as well as some promotions exclusive to EnterOne that we'd like to make you aware of. To get into the housekeeping pieces, there is a Q&A option for today's webinar. We ask that you please direct any questions to the Q&A, and we will be managing that in real time and save some time at the end of the session to answer those questions as well. Next slide, please, Will, if you don't mind. Awesome. Well, to start, my name is Saxon Barnes. I'm our Director of Strategic Growth and Vendor Relations here at EnterOne. I focus on Microsoft and specifically our Copilot road mapping program, which I would love to talk about and put in front of you today. If you don't mind going to the next slide, Will. So AI is obviously a big piece of everyone's life now, and Copilot is a massive tool in that space. And we understand that your organization may have different personas, different skill sets that are using Copilot in different capacities. So we created the Copilot road mapping program to align with your strategy specific to those areas of focus that you have and those different skill levels. So this is a step-by-step guide where we've aligned trainings from the fundamental level all the way to the mastery level that ultimately help accelerate adoption of Copilot where it makes sense to your organization. So to break that down a little further, we can go to the next slide, Will. This is a little bit of a breakdown of our level 1 through 4 training. So again, we've aligned trainings and we'll dive into some of the content today, as you can see with AI 3025, more on the foundational level. But we really want to build that accelerated roadmap for you by aligning those specific courses and kind of creating that step-by-step guide for you and your team. All of these different trainings can be customized. And again, we can align use cases to your specific areas of focus. So please engage with us if you're interested in, again, adopting Copilot in a more efficient manner. We're happy to work with you and your teams, but we do have these trainings out there on our website as well. There are standard courses such as MS4004 that'll dive into use cases, in our level 3 course that'll be more of a deep dive and more persona specific. And all the way down to level 4, we're looking more at mastery, creating agents with Copilot, more of the more technical focuses there. So again, this is aligned to drive that accelerated adoption and is completely customizable to you. So more content around this will be sent out. And again, I'd love to engage with you and your teams to talk more about these opportunities and these offers. My contact information will be listed and sent out. So please feel free to reach out to dive into this further. Next slide, please, Will. I also want to mention our EnterOne Empowered platform. This is a platform where we offer free e-learning around Microsoft focus areas, completely free, as I mentioned, for you and your teams to take advantage of. This will be linked as well. We have a lot of great AI-focused e-learning, and our webinars from previous sessions will be recorded in-house here too. If you ever wanted to go back and review the content we discussed today, or any previous sessions, those will all be listed on our Empowered platform. And courses will be aligned to these areas too. So if you're taking an e-learning on Empowered and you want to explore the actual training aligned to that area of focus, we'll have those listed for you in a simple, easy to use way. Next slide, please. Awesome. And with that, I will go ahead and pass it over to Will. Again, keep an eye out for the slideware that will be sent out to you. We'll also put some links in the chat that'll dive a little deeper in the pieces that I mentioned there. And again, my contact info will be listed. We've got a great session teed up for you today. And Will, I will pass it over to you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sexton. Well, welcome everybody to our AI 3025 training focused on working smarter with AI. My name is Will Berkeley, and I'll be your trainer for the day, or your guide for this. Whoops, let's click on the right button, Will, and we start. Just a little bit about me. My background is actually software testing. I always like to tell people that before the internet was even a public thing, I used to take phone calls from people and help them with their computers. Then I got into a variety of other things, leading towards software testing, which I frankly thought I would do the rest of my life. It was so much fun. But a community college called me one day, desperately needing someone to teach a one-day class, and I went ahead and did it because I had nothing else to do except mow the lawn. And I had so much fun. I literally gave up testing that month, and I've been teaching ever since. And I really like teaching these webinars and the classes for Copilot, partly because it's kind of on the cutting edge of where we're going with computer use, and also because it's a lot of fun. So hopefully this class will demonstrate that to you, the not only the effectiveness of using Copilot, but also the enjoyableness of it and the flexibility that it carries along with it. So our goal today is just to cover in this brief time 5 primary things: identifying what Copilot is and what it can do for you, how Copilot works in general, and how we can effectively interact with it. And then after we talk about that briefly, I'm going to show you some examples of using Copilot live. So the main point is to just give you an opportunity to learn about Microsoft Copilot and to see it in action, and to talk a little bit about how we can craft effective prompts. That's really the heart and soul of using Copilot, is writing effective prompts that will allow it to know what it is you want to do. So we want to give you an opportunity to learn about Copilot and see it in action, and then talk about, again, these effective prompts. So let's talk about prompts a little bit, okay? First off, actually, before we get there, let's talk about the different levels of Copilot, because Copilot isn't just one app, it's multiple different levels of apps. We have a side of Copilot that is designed more for individuals, Microsoft Copilot and Copilot Pro. It's more or less, as you can see on the slide, your personal companion, your personal assistant as you're doing your work. And it's important to note that Copilot does not replace you, it assists you. That's why it's Copilot and not Pilot. So the idea is not for you to sit back and do nothing, but for Copilot to help you with your own workflow, to give you assistance in gathering information and doing specific work that you want to do. Probably things that you could have done on your own, but it can do it a lot quicker and a little bit more efficiently and effectively, and then you can tweak or alter the output that Copilot provides to you. There's also, on the organizational side, Microsoft Copilot, which is your assistant at work. The main difference here between the two is whether or not it does have or does not have access to your work environment, to your OneDrive, to your SharePoint, to the various teams that you might access. So the private one doesn't, the organizational one does, and it will just be determined by which licensing you have. Now, somebody asked a little while ago, asked Copilot, describe yourself, kind of as if you were meeting somebody for the first time. What exactly do you do for a living? You might ask somebody that. So we asked Copilot, what does Copilot do? And here's what it said. It gave us these variety of answers, the multiple, and just as just a subset of the responses that it gave. It can answer questions and brainstorm and do research for you, all sorts of different things that it can do to assist you in your own workflow. So we're going to see a little bit of that in action. But as I said before, the heart and soul of our interaction with Copilot is the prompts that we do, that we enter into it, and then what it does in the background. What Copilot does is it accesses one or multiple large language models, massive amounts of information that it has access to. And from that information, it will then give a response. So whatever your initial prompt might be, it's going to go out to the large language model, to whatever its training data is, and then come back and give you a response. And then you can alter what you wanted. You might say, oh no, I didn't want 3 points here, I wanted 5, or could you make this a little bit more concise, or expand on that, or get rid of that paragraph. So as you're discussing it with Copilot, it's like you were discussing it with an assistant. So Copilot will do most of those things that you need it to do. So let's talk a little bit more about prompts. There are 4 primary parts of a prompt. You can see there on the slide. But I want to try to parse that down a little bit. Okay, let's look at what are the main parts of a prompt whenever you're using Copilot. And these are the 4. the goal, the context, the source or sources, and the expectations. That is to say, what do you want Copilot to do? That's the goal. I mean, we have something in mind, right? And then maybe if you can give a Copilot the context of why you need it. In fact, let me go ahead and give you some examples. I might just say, recap this Teams meeting that we just finished or whatever. All right. But it would be useful if I told Copilot a little bit more. Was I in the meeting and just want an overview? Was I late to attend? Was I absent? Do I need a little bit more information? So knowing the context of your prompt is going to assist Copilot in giving you a good answer. If there are particular sources of information, maybe documents that you want to refer to, then you can either make just reference to them in a sentence or use the links that would be connected to that source and put that into the prompt as well. And then what exactly you're expecting Copilot to do. And you might have details about that. So you could do each one of these prompts individually, or if you knew from the get-go that you had all of those in mind, you could put them all into a single prompt. Copilot doesn't mind. It can take it piecemeal, or it can take it all at once. And then after you get your initial response, or as you're getting different responses from Copilot, you're going to iterate or adjust or add additional follow-up prompts as necessary. So that's the heart and soul of what you're going to be doing with Copilot, giving it prompts, asking it questions, wanting it to go out and get certain data or create data, depending on what it is you're doing. And so that's what Copilot is going to do for you. Let's talk a little bit about the Copilot interface, or maybe interfaces, plural. So first off, we see on the Copilot homepage, which, by the way, has now replaced the Microsoft 365 homepage. When you log in to your Microsoft 365 account, you're going to see a screen like this that is Copilot prompting you to ask it questions and so forth. So the interface involves the various chat options that we have in the upper left corner of the navigation pane. Then our researchers that we might have, some of the standard standard agents, I should say, are researcher and analyst, and you can create new agents. We won't be doing that today, but this is where you would do it. Or notebooks of information are various history of chat threads that we have already executed. And then down in the lower right corner, lower left corner, we also have our account information, the other apps that are part of our license, our own account profile, and so forth. Looking up in the upper, in the center, top center, we have two buttons, one that says work and one that says web. The work side will access the work content that we have available to us, our OneDrive and SharePoint and other things. The web side will bypass that work-related, that organizational content when we're doing interactions with Copilot. Moving over to the upper right corner, we have the little the auto and then the little purple button there. The auto deals with how far down we want Copilot to work, or how much we want it to make an effort. There's an auto, there's a I always forget what this is called because I never use it. Oh, quick, the quick option, and then there's the think deeper option. And so those not only involve how long Copilot is going to work on something, but how far into the data it's going to search. And then the little purple button is to create either a new chat or create what's called a quick chat. A quick chat, the one big difference between a quick chat and a normal chat is that a quick chat is not added to the thread, the history, I should say, of the chats. That thread will just be on a standalone, and when you leave it, it's gone. In the center of the screen, we have a little prompt, how can I help you? And then the initial Copilot entry field. And then below it, we have the Copilot prompt gallery, several suggested places where we could start. And those change depending on whether we're on the work side or on the web side. As I mentioned before, we have several different options here for Copilot. We have, as you saw in that previous picture, the main Copilot screen, but then within each of the different apps in your license, in your Microsoft 365 license, whether it be Word online or Excel online, we also have a Copilot pane on the right where we can continue the conversation with Copilot. Those options are also available on the desktop side. So the Word Online has the Copilot pane, and the desktop Word has the Copilot pane as well. So enough talking about the slides. Let's go ahead and get started and take a look at some of the options that we have available to us. So give me just a moment as I'm hopping over to my notes here. And I'm here on the Copilot homepage right now. Just jump over to my notes, make sure I don't miss anything. And so what I want to do is take a document that I already have, and I'm going to start having Copilot build on it for me. So I'm going to go into my OneDrive app. All right, I already have the tab open, but in case you weren't familiar with that, I could go to the apps list. OneDrive would be listed there. I could click on that. Each time that you open up any app in your Microsoft 365 suite, it opens up a new tab on your browser. The advantage to that is when you're finished with it, all you have to do is close that browser tab, whether it be Word or Excel or OneDrive or whatever, Outlook, and then that app is closed. But here I am in my OneDrive, and I have a couple of files, business idea and a coffee sales workbook, Excel workbook. So I'm going to go and open up the business idea file. The business idea file. This is a pre-created file that I just had already available to me. And so you can see it's just a little business idea that I came up with regarding, or somebody, not me, but hypothetically, we'll say, came up regarding a cleaning company that I want to start in New York. All right. And here's just some initial ideas that I came up with, just a half a page of data, not really all that much, but I'm going to let Copilot help me as I move forward in trying to create this new business. So on the right side of the Home tab on the ribbon is my Copilot button. So when I click on that, the Copilot side pane pops out, and it's ready for me to do some things specifically, in Copilot, but specifically regarding Word Online. So it's kind of a subset of Copilot. It's going to be geared specifically to Word. So I'm going to go ahead and just paste in, so you don't have to watch me typing, my first prompt. So what I want to do here is have Copilot summarize this document. Okay, that's my goal, with 5 key points. That's the expectations, and maybe suggest some next steps as well. So all I have to do is click on that. Now notice I'm not changing the document yet at this point. I'm simply letting Copilot do its work on the side, and it usually doesn't take all that long. Okay. Just owing to the size of my the browser size, the zoom size that I have, the text is a little bit bigger, just so you all can see it better. So I'm going to have to scroll on down to see everything. But you can see as I move down through here, a lot of good information that it's created for me. Next steps, I think I was asking for that. So here's what I can do. Formalize contractor and expand the analysis and so forth. I can do a variety of things. When I get down to the bottom, I see these little additional buttons where I could add that document, add that content to the current document. I could copy it into the clipboard. I could give Copilot a little feedback. Yep, I like what you're doing, or no, that's not really on track, and a few other things. Share it with other people. But I think I'm just going to move forward with this and say, tell me specifically, how do I set up a new cleaning business in New York City? Give me some steps, send me some specific steps that I can execute. And so away it goes. Since I asked for New York in particular, it's going to find me some information that's, some of it's going to be particular to that state or that city. When I was practicing this class a few days ago, since I live in Washington State and Snohomish County, I decided to pretend that I was going to do something in Snohomish County. And so it was a building project that I made up in this little practice. And I said, tell me what I have to do to get a building created in Snohomish County. And it went out to the Snohomish County assessor's office, told me all about the licensing and permits that are required and all of those different things, links to that information. It was delightful. So here's all my information that I need to create this thing. I'm just going to zip right through it. Not too concerned about the content at this point, and we are limited in time, but And also once I get done, it gives me some additional suggestions. I can turn this into a checklist. I'm not going to do that, but there's some other suggestions. All right. What I think I want to do is have Copilot turn all that text into a table. Turn that text into a table. Or maybe I don't like that right now. I'm going to say turn the steps. Okay, visualize the steps as a table. All right. So away it goes, doing some formatting, not just giving me content, but then formatting the content as well. So there's my table with the little step by steps, 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Okay, went a little bit too far. Let me go back up there a little bit. All right, there's everything I need, all the steps and all the, let's see, what were the titles of these columns again? Yeah, we have the steps, what you can do. I can't scroll at the bottom because I'm at the bottom right now, but I'm liking that. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I could go ahead and do this. I think this is a pretty good place for me to go. So I'm going to say, and I don't have a pre-created one for this. I'm going to say export all this information into a Word document. By the way, if you misspell things, Copilot is very forgiving. Computers have not always been that forgiving with our typos, but Copilot is pretty good about it. If it can figure out what I meant to say, it'll just go ahead and do it. It won't say, excuse me, Will, you didn't spell document correctly, and it won't go forward. It'll just go forward. It'll know what I meant. Okay, so the document is ready, just like that. I've got a document. So I'm going to go ahead and, now let's move back up again. Where did it go? I just scrolled on me. Okay, so my New York cleaning business setup guide. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it's downloaded into my computer, downloaded onto my local computer. So I'm going to jump back to OneDrive and go ahead and upload it. And there it is. And in a moment, there's my file. I'm going to go ahead and open it now and see what I have. So there's my New York City business step-by-step guide. There's all the steps, okay? The step and what I have to do and the key outcome. That's pretty nice. All right, so I have this, and I took a look at my table that it created for me. All right, and one of the things I can do as I keep on going is I'm just going to move down to the bottom of this document. All right, just click at the bottom and might be come down here, give myself a little bit more space. You'll notice wherever my cursor is, there's a Copilot prompt. I can continue drafting it. I could select something and have Copilot do something for me, but I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to say, could you maybe suggest a name for my new cleaning business? And so Copilot's going to do that for me. And here's some good names: Bright Space Cleaning. These are, by the way, like I said, I've done this a half a dozen or more times, probably more like a dozen times. I've never gotten any of these. It comes up with new ones every single time. So just because this is a nice short name, Fresh Start Cleaners, I'm going to go ahead and use that. Okay. And so I'm going to say, let's use Fresh Start Cleaners. I just copied and pasted that, just so it knows which one I chose. Okay, it gives me a little blurb. That looks good. I'm going to jump up and change New York City cleaning business. I'm going to say, fresh start. Oh, come on. Oh, do paste text only. No, wants to get that right. Well, so it's already formatted. I don't need the formatting. All right. And I think I will ignore all references to that. All right. So I'm going to keep on going with this, and I think I also might go ahead and change the name of the file itself, Fresh Start Cleaners. All right. So this is already in my AI 3025 file, so I don't need to go hunting for it. All right. But now I'm going to go ahead and create another blank Word document. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Get this sharing bit out of my way. I'm going to go ahead and close my Fresh Start Cleaners plan. I think maybe I should, let's see here. Oh, it hasn't refreshed yet. Don't want to rename it while it's in the process. Let me go ahead and do a refresh because I'm not a very patient person. We don't live in a very patient society, do we? Letters that we would send across the country might take a week, and now we worry about, emails taking more than 5 seconds. Come on, OneDrive. Let's get going. Well, hello. There we go. Okay, go back to my folder. All right. All right, very good. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new blank document. All right. Actually, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and go into Word again. All right. So let me jump back in. Let me go ahead and close the business idea. And I'll just stay right here. All right. And I'll go ahead and create a new blank document in Word. Okay. So I've got the document. I'm going to go back to Copilot again. Now I'm going to continue with what I've already started. Well, my system's running a little slow. That's okay. And I'm going to say, what was it again? Fresh start cleaning or fresh start cleaning. I think that was spelled right. Yeah. And the file, I just have that little placeholder here for me to remind myself to do this, but I want to make use of that information. So I'm just going to click on the slash. Now this might take a minute or so because I just created the file and just renamed it. So it's hunting around for the file. So I'm going to type in fresh and it's not finding it. It's not finding it. So if that happens, if you're so quick on the money that you haven't given, OneDrive a chance to index everything, I might try it again a second time. No, it didn't going to do it. So I can try a search, fresh. There it is, fresh start cleaners. So it just took a second. So now I'm going to use that information. So I'm going to write a business plan for this right now. So I'll let that grind for a moment. So here's my business plan. We've got an executive summary, company overview, market overview, target, and so forth. This is not bad. Now, could I have written all this myself? Yeah, sure, but not this quickly. Not this quickly. Kind of the conclusion. Okay, now it's giving me more suggestions of things it can do. A little bit further, I'm waiting. All right, very good. Once I see those little buttons at the bottom, I know that Copilot is finished. And here's some suggestions. Add some tables for financial projections and so forth. I think what I wanted to do is just go ahead and format all of that content using heading 1, 2s, and 3s in Word. You've probably used the headings in Word before. Very, very useful, not only in saving you time in formatting, but also maintaining consistency across your document using the same sizes, same fonts, same colors, and so forth. Okay, I'm going to tear through this really quickly to get to the bottom. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and add to the document. Notice there's a little button here, a little bit different than the copy and paste or copy option. I'm going to go ahead and just add this to this blank document. Okay, jump back up to the top. Throws in a few extra things. Notice it didn't really do a great deal with the formatting. Didn't do a great deal with the formatting. So there are other options that I might have besides that. So I'm going to undo that. And this time I'm going to go ahead and copy the response into the clipboard. My mouse to click on this here again. Waiting for my mouse. Come on, there it is. And I'm going to go ahead and just paste Control V. And that does a better job with the headings and so forth. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these things. Those are just prompts from Copilot. Might jump to the bottom to make sure. Yep, there's some additional prompts. So if you want, I can next do, that's just the information that was at the top and the bottom of that last cycle. So that's not bad. That is not bad at all. So I've got a, looks like a 4-page document built from that. 90% of it is there. I would probably go through, I'm not sure why it's doing it this today. It hasn't done that in the past, but not the worst thing in the world. I could easily do a not a copy and paste. I could do a search and replace on heading followed by a space and any number surrounded by parentheses and a, page break or a line break, parenthesis break, I should say, or a paragraph break, and it would delete all that stuff. But that's a word thing. I'm not going to worry about it. So I wonder if I could get rid of, I did this. Let me see here. Delete. This is obviously, I'm making this up. Delete the heading. What would you call that? Notations in parentheses. C's, plural. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know if that's the phrasing that it would expect. It might, you know what it might do? It might, yeah, clean up the version here in the side pane, yeah, without doing it over here. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Not going to worry about that right now. I like this document as it is. I'm pretty much finished with it. I just need to change the name. I'm going to call it Fresh Start Marketing Plan. Something to that effect. All right. Still saved in my 3025. That looks pretty good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Give that a chance to refresh. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is some things in Excel. But before I do that, there's something else I want to do because there's some things in Copilot, just like in anything else in a computer, takes a little bit longer than we might expect it to take. All right. And one of those is creating graphical things like in a PowerPoint presentation. So before I get into Excel, which runs pretty quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the apps launcher and open up a new blank PowerPoint presentation. And since I'm doing it in that folder, it's going to create it in that folder. Okay. So you'll see it's asking me right here before I even get started. There's my PowerPoint, there's my Copilot prompt and saying, would you like to create a new presentation essentially from scratch or use a file? Well, I want to use a file. I want to use my Fresh Start marketing plan file. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. All right. It's going to ask me, okay, what's the name of the file? Fresh Start Cleaners. Was that the file? I thought it was marketing plan. See, now I'm not really remembering. Let me just do that. Oh, no, Cleaners was the Word file, but or the initial Word file. So I'm going to do a little quick refresh, make sure that that file is actually saved. Yeah, marketing plan. So I'll jump back in here and I'll say Fresh Start. There's my marketing plan. All right, so create a presentation from the marketing plan, right? And maybe I'll throw in a couple extra things here. So I'll add this, put a little period to show a new sentence. I'm going to say that should include the benefits of the professional cleaning business, about 5 to 8 slides, also include notes in the notes pane. That's not a bad thing to do. So I'll go ahead and let it run. Now, this is the thing that's going to take a little bit of time. All right. So after I get that started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it about another 15 seconds just because sometimes it's like just quick as a bunny. But more often than not, it takes a minute or two, a couple of minutes, and oh, I take it back. There was quick as the bunny. All right, good. So maybe I'll just continue on with this right now. So what I want to do here is asking me for a theme. So I'll go ahead and pick this one just because it's one of them. And then I'll come down here. I see a number of different, image kind of image themes. So aside from the slide theme, I get to pick an image theme, and I can do cats, or I can do cartoons, or there we are with cats again for some reason today. I'm not sure what these are. Who doesn't like a good giraffe? But I think I'll go over here. This one, as I'm glancing at these, looks a little bit more professional. Architectural images. Not that we have anything to do with architecture, it's just going to kind of use that as a theme. So I'll go ahead and pick that and then generate those slides. And again, I'll just give it a moment to see if it's as quick on this step as it was. It's working pretty well. It's working pretty fast here. But you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and jump into Excel. I'm going to jump into Excel anyway. All right. So I'll let that run for the present time. And what I want to do is I'm going to open up. Let me get this. I'm going to go ahead and open up well, it's got a dialog box on top. So I'm going to jump over to another tab so I can open up a new Excel file. And we'll just let PowerPoint run on its own. So I'm creating a new blank workbook. And I'm going to go ahead and save it right here at the get-go. I'm going to call it, let me grab my little name here because I saved myself the trouble of typing again. I'll call it financial projections. This is going to give me an error, I'm sure, because it's bolded. Yep, see, little thing that just started happening with Excel Online for some reason. It won't take bolded text being pasted in. So I'm going to go ahead and type it in myself. Financial project. See, I didn't know why you didn't want me to you didn't want to watch me typing all of this. Okay, we have that file there created. And okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the Copilot pane again, as we would expect to do so. Okay. All right, so I could give it a prompt right here, kind of a generalistic prompt, something like, give me a table of projected profits. All right, that's not really very much information. And Copilot's going to give it its best shot, but I didn't really tell it too much. All right, so it's going to Python's the back what's happening in the back end, but it's going to do its best with that little bit of information. Okay, but it doesn't really know. I mean, we have some numbers, Will. Hello, could I have some numbers? So it's more, it's going to tell us about financial projections, all right, because it didn't really have any numbers. So now I'm going to give it a little bit better prompt, okay? How about projected profits for the next 5 years where we're starting at 10,000, we're increasing by 12%. Okay, that's not so bad. Now it's got some real numbers. I mean, Excel is all about the numbers, right? Okay, there it is. Now, a curious thing about Excel, because it's oftentimes creating kind of, I'm not sure what the term you want to use, but subset information from the prompt response itself. So in addition to all of this information that Copilot is narrating to me, we've also got this little table. So I could come down to the very bottom, paste this entire thing into a new sheet, along with the Copilot narration. All right, and that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I could do that, and there's the table, and there's the narration. All right, but I also have the option of simply coming up to the table that it just created and add that alone, the table alone being added to the new sheet. All right. In either case, it's going to format it as a table. I'm liking that. And then I'm going to maybe make this a little bit wider so I can see it a little better. Maybe zoom just a smidge. All right. And that's not a bad start. All right. So we've got that. And then I'm going to say, this is nice as a table, but I kind of like to see, maybe you do this for me. Maybe Copilot, could you suggest some ways to visualize this? Okay, we're scrolling down. We could do a line chart. We could do a column or a bar chart, kind of generalistic information. Area chart, probably wouldn't choose the area chart. Combo chart, if that was appropriate. We could do some KPIs, a lot of different things here. Since this is fairly general information, all right, it's going to give us a variety of different choices. All right, so I'm going to say, let's do this. Let's say um, um, add a line chart to this sheet. Okay. Okay, it's thinking about this, working hard at this one. Now I'm not too terribly concerned with, whether I picked a line chart or you prefer a, pie chart. Probably not a pie chart. Would be a good choice for that. Okay, it says the line chart was added successfully. I don't see it being added though. That's an interesting thing. So we'll keep on going. So don't really see it yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add it as a new sheet and see what it puts out. And it didn't really do it very well. No, that didn't work so well at all. So I get different since I didn't actually copy and paste that prompt. Sometimes my own wording doesn't do a good job for me. So I'm going to go back to this table. All right, I'm going to try it again. All right, I'm going to say export, slightly different phrasing. Export this table as a column chart, or no, what did I say? A line chart. We'll give it one more try, and then I'm going to move on because I have better things to do than have me figure out the phrasing. So, and sometimes, one phrasing will work and another phrasing might not. What you'd expect to be, this should be perfectly valid. All right, here we go. Add to a new sheet. Oh, here it is. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Now it's pretty simplistic. You get it. But I'm going to go ahead and click add to a new sheet. So it creates a new sheet. There it is. All right. Looking good. All right. And then again, it sees some additional information, which I could add to an additional sheet and then copy, unify them if I wanted to, but I won't take the time to do that right now. I just wanted to show you some of the different options that I would have. All right. We're doing okay time-wise, but I think I might go ahead and close this and maybe do a little bit more here with Excel because there's another workbook here that I have, coffee sales workbook. I don't run a coffee company, but we'll pretend that I do today. So we have these various customers and what customer ranking they are, gold, silver, bronze, or new, places that they live, what they bought, how much it cost, how many bags they bought, did they get a discount. This is all good, pretty good information. I've got about, a little over 1,000 rows of data. All right. And so I'm going to go over here to Copilot and I'm going to say something like, how about not making these up as I go? I'm going to say, list the top 3 products. Notice the word products is not in my data. The word coffee is at the column header, but it doesn't say products. Sold in, we'll say, trying to remember how far this data goes. It started as 2014, was 2019. Let's say sold in 2016. Okay, sold in 2016. Just the total sales, while also subtracting. It's what happens when your fingers run along without your mind. Subtracting the discount percentages. Okay, there's a column that has a discount. I haven't really told it what to do with the discount percentage. This isn't really a very good prompt, but it will do for the present time, just as far as seeing what Copilot can do. Another thing I really like about Copilot with Excel is it will not only do the calculation for me, but momentarily, it will also show me the calculation, the formula or the function that it's using as it's doing it. All right. Oh, maybe this time it's not going to do. Oh, yeah, there it is. How it was calculated. So I got to learn a little bit about Excel at the same time. All right. So I can go through there. I can go ahead and add that to a new sheet. All right. There it is. Didn't really show it as a table, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go back to my source data, order details. It's always a good idea. Go back to the source sheet that you're using. Okay. No, how about this? Create a table for each customer and how much of each product they bought. Yeah, I think that's could I could phrase that a little bit differently, but I think that will do for the present time. It's not a bad place to start. So hopefully we have a little kind of like a cross-tab table style bit that I didn't tell it that, but maybe table will be sufficient. Okay, customer Brazilian in Brazil. Okay, going down. That's just the first one alphabetically. Brazilian is first. I happen to know that because, well, I run the coffee company. Okay, so, but I'm going to come down here a little bit further, and you'll see there's a column for each of the. You can't see the names because they're up a little higher, but I'm going to go ahead and put that into a new sheet. Okay, formatted properly as a table since I asked for a table, and that's not a bad place for us to go. So you can see a variety of different things that I can do with that in regards to Excel. But I'm going to go ahead and move out of this right now and jump back to PowerPoint and continue with this. So by now it's created my I said 5 to 8 slides. It rarely I've never really seen it count the title and the conclusion slide as one of them. So I really have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slides of content. So I'm going to go ahead and keep those. If I didn't want them, I could trash them and give it another prompt from that same data, all right, and continue the conversation. But I think I like these as they are, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it. Go ahead and keep it. And so here I am. I'm going to go switch back to normal view, normal view. And I don't think I'm quite done with this yet, though. There's a little bit more for me to do, especially if I'm going to be doing this in New York. You know, they're real, uh, eco-conscious about that because it's a big, big, big city. So I think I better give it some more information. Like I want to maybe have it, I want to add a slide about benefits of eco-friendly approach to cleaning. So let's see what it does with that. Okay, can't directly insert a slide, so it says right now. Well, I don't think I like that very much, but here's the bullets. Here are the bullets. All right. I'm going to keep on going, and I'm going to say, I'm going to push back a little bit. I'm going to push back a little bit. I'm going to say, no, no, I want an image. Okay. You didn't do a slide for me in the first place, but I think I can push you and maybe get you to do that. I want an image that goes along with the eco-friendly slide, but also matches the image style. Okay. So I created that prompt, by the way. Was it yesterday or the day before when I was doing my last, practice again? And it actually did create the slide from that initial prompt. This time it says it can't. Okay, well, everybody's got a bad day once in a while, but I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I want a slide, I want a slide with, how's that? Just a little bit of pushing. All right. What typically it does, and I'll just tell it to you since it doesn't seem to want to do it right now, but I might, you know, encourage it or coerce it into it, is that as it's making changes to the slide that I created, the slideshow, the presentation I created, it's going to create additional ones with the links like it did with that Word file. It would have a link with the altered one from the prompt. So we'll see what it does with that if I can get it to do that. Oh, you see, there it is. That right there tells me that it's actually creating an image. Okay, it's not creating the slide, but it is creating the image. That's not too bad. Looks like it is going to be monochrome. All right, otherwise I'd see lots of different colors. Oh, here's a color. I don't think I like that blue. We'll see what it does. Since I specified in my prompt that I wanted it to be monochrome, I'd really be surprised if it didn't come out monochrome. Add a slide. That was my original one. And then I said, no, I want a slide that, oh, I didn't say monochrome. I didn't say, oh yeah, I didn't say monochrome. So, all right, let's see what it does with this. Not quite finished, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to interrupt it. I don't usually interrupt it, but just because it's rude, you don't want to interrupt people in the middle of their work. But I'm going to go ahead and add this additional prompt. Okay, it stops. It says, oh, I see what you had in mind. And so then I go ahead and put in the monochrome architectural style of the other slides. All right. And then it'll go ahead and do it again. Well, this is taking longer. Some of the black and white one, the monochrome usually is a little bit quicker. This might take, yeah, thank you very much. All right, let it finish that up. All right, that's not too bad. So what I can do here, I'm going to go working along with Copilot. As I said, it's not replacing me. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work myself. So I'll go ahead and put in a new slide right there. Okay. And let's go over this one. And I'll go ahead and there's a little insert button. There's a copy button. I'll go ahead and just insert this in. Okay. And then I could add some additional content here if I wanted to. All right. Won't do that right now, but let's just keep on going. There's a bunch of different things there. I have options for me. Notice that it jumped over to the design suggestions for me if I wanted that, but I don't think I want that. So I'm going to go ahead and close that to return to my Copilot thread. I'm going to go ahead and add another slide about discounts and add another slide about our vehicles being solar and wind powered. So does seem unlikely, but it's an imaginary company. We can do whatever we want. So getting off of the graphics, things should move a little bit faster now. I thought I didn't. Oh, well, let's just see. Let's just stop that. Okay. That's the first time, by the way. I'll just throw it in here. It's the first time that it's created a graphic when I didn't specifically ask for a graphic. Not that it's never done that before. It's never done it to me. So here it is. Maybe because I'm not sure why. Not sure why I did that. Because it did. I was about to say maybe I didn't let it finish that earlier one, but it actually did. It put it in there. Okay, so it's done with that. Okay, we're done with that. Thank you very much. Let's try this again. Yeah, it stopped. Yeah, so we're going to move on. We're moving on, folks. I'm not Copilot. If it starts to do another graphic right here, I'm going to just cancel it out and start a new thread within this same document. Ah, it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I don't know if this is the typical way of doing it, but up on the top, because I'm in a corporate licensing for Copilot, I have the work and the web. When you switch from one to the other, it not only does it, switch it from work to web, but it also starts another thread. And so when I switch back to work again, I've got a new thread here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and say, add a slide, maybe since it's brand new, add a slide to this presentation. Okay. I could spell presentation right. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Okay. It's telling me you can't do the slide. Okay, well, that's not a big fat surprise. What I'm going to say, I'll give you a quick tip. Okay. How about this? We'll say we will export this presentation to a new PowerPoint presentation, and also add a slide with all that stuff we wanted. All right. So we'll see if it gets any better with that. What I'm expecting at this point is because I told it to export, it's going to create a new file. It's going to take this current data and put in what I've asked it to. So, oh, you know what I didn't do? Probably should have made reference to the file here, but yeah, well, there we go. Let me try that again. Where's mine? Although this isn't bad information. Okay. Let me do this. I think because I started a new thread, it got a little confused. So let's start using don't have a link there on this to get to make the connection on this file. So I'm just going to go over to OneDrive, pick up that file. Oh, is it not there? Where is it? Oh, it's in my documents file. Okay, documents folder. All right, just a moment, everyone. That's not too bad, not too terrible. Um, okay, I'll pick up the link for this, copy the link, and then make reference to it right here. Okay. So it's using that file. Let's see what it does now. I think because I started a new chat, even though I'm in the file, it got a little confused on what I really had in mind. So we'll take a look at this. We're going to do just one more thing, and then we'll be about finished here. Glancing over at the chat and the Q&A to see if there are any questions. Or Aaron, let me know if there are any questions. Oh, no, nothing in the Q&A to worry about. If you do have questions, feel free to type those into the chat or the Q&A. Okay, so there's my prompt. I exported with copy with new slides. One of the things, by the way, I've observed that when I go to these right here, when I go to the follow-on files that it creates, let me just go down here and make sure. It sometimes picks up all the data, but it doesn't pick up that theme. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that up right now after it downloads it and see what it does, all right? And it's opening it up in desktop Word, of course, because it's in on my local computer. Oh, well, I spoke too soon. I thought it was going to give me just blank, oops, hello, blank files or blank, no theme slides, but it actually retained the themes. Okay, put in um, the information that we wanted, that additional information. There's the referral discounts that I asked for. Didn't really, follow the same theme for those additional slides. But what I can do is go ahead and change that up to one of my existing content slides. Let me go ahead and do that. All right, or maybe one of the other ones. I'm not sure which one of these is going to be best. Content with a picture. Okay, it's waiting for me to put a picture in. So all right. But anyway, based on what I'm doing here, I could easily clean that up and make it whatever I want it to do. All right. But the data is there. And then I'll just do a little bit of graphical analysis or graphical changes with that. All right. At that point, I probably want to go ahead and, save this and then put it back into my OneDrive. So I'll go ahead and jump into OneDrive here, into my AI 3025, and I'm going to call it, updated PPT. All right, that will be sufficient for that. Okay, and once it's saved, I can go ahead and get out of this one, and I'll find it in, yeah, thank you very much. I'll find it in my AI 3025. Updated PPT. The other one I guess was sitting in the documents the whole time. Didn't realize that. All right. But you can see whether we're using, the main point here is whether we're starting from just the main Copilot window, which is popping up for us, where we do just kind of an open chat, drawing in files or making up ideas. You can see all my chat threads, the history of my chat threads from the beginning of the business plan to the projected profits in Excel, the top 3 products from that coffee sales. There's the eco-friendly bit with the PowerPoint, and then the added slides, because I kind of restarted that chat thread again. All of those are saved into the chats, and so I would have easy access to any of them. I could click back to them right here on the main screen for Copilot, and there's all the things that I did. All right, there is everything that it threw in there. All right, there's my reference to that earlier file, and there's, if I didn't save it the first time, there's the file being saved in the chat thread in the history itself, so I could then export it again if I wanted to. Same with the, let me see here. Well, I think this was the earlier PowerPoint, so we don't have to worry about that because we've already created. All right, there's the top 3 products that we did with Excel. There they are. These we didn't create separate files. We just added them as additional worksheets in the Excel file. So there was no files created there, just sheets. But we could easily get that information again, either copying and pasting it or whatever we would like to do. There's the financial projections file that we created in Word. So everything is still there. All right. And then if you're inclined, it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm finished with that one. I can always delete just the one chat thread, or I could go back to my Microsoft 365 account, to the profile, and delete all of them at one time, which is really handy if you have like dozens and dozens of chats in history. Then you might want to, in fact, I'll go ahead and do this just as an example. Not really part of this class normally, but it's useful. I go to my account. Yes, I have 5 different accounts signed up. So it's asking me, which one are you working with? Very well. All right. And then under settings and privacy, and the privacy tab, which is going to pop open here in a minute, right about here. Oops, I missed it just right here. I can then clear out my entire Copilot activity history. All right. Confirmation box, delete. All right. And it's letting me know it might take a little bit of time for all of that to happen. So if I come back here, it's still there. But if I do a refresh, it might still be there, frankly. It usually takes about 30 seconds or so for that to go away. But just a second. Going back again here to the prompts, just as you notice the prompt gallery, just as one more thing to talk about, since we were talking about prompts before, There was my coworker Saxton Barnes that began this webinar. We had a meeting earlier, and so there's information about that. Creative internal campaign taglines. I'm not sure what some of these are. Some of them are more general than others, but those are the work ones. And there's also web gallery, prompt gallery options that I have available to me. So a variety of things that we can be doing here in Copilot, using both the Copilot main screen, which was, as I said, used to be the home page for 365, but now is our Copilot screen, and then also any of the other apps that we want to use. I think I haven't found an exception yet, but I think just about all of the apps in the Microsoft suite have some component of Copilot in them, whether it be Word or Excel or PowerPoint or OneDrive or whatever it might be. So let me go ahead and keep on going. If I wanted to go perhaps to Outlook Online, I'm going to go ahead and light up Outlook. It was just here a second ago, right there. I should be closing these tabs. I'm not great at closing tabs when I'm finished, but it's okay. All right. So one of the things I might do here in Outlook is, again, go up to the File tab. There's my Copilot button. So Copilot is going to help me organize my life and meetings and content and so forth. So I might say, what things do I have scheduled for the next week, or maybe the next, let's go with next couple of weeks. With the next couple of weeks. Thought I typed. Thought I typed. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, just pausing. There we go. All right. It's finding out what I'm doing. I have various events. All right. There's the class we're doing right now today. All right. And then various classes that I'm teaching. I don't know why that just popped up. Various classes that I'm teaching, Power BI and other things that we're doing next week. And then the week after that, we have a variety of things. So that's not bad. So more Copilot things to be taught and so forth. That's a pretty good thing. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start another thread. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to create a meeting. I'm going to create a meeting in Outlook, okay, and discuss my, what was it called? Fresh Start Company, okay? Fresh Start Cleaning, I think that's what it was called, okay? I'm going to include, whoops, and discuss, period. That's not, I'm going to include one of my coworkers and then this other person, student 10, it's just a practice account that I have, all right? I might want to include information about a certain file. So again, I can go ahead and put in, there's fresh start meeting plan, okay? And let's go with that again, fresh start cleaners. All right, we'll go ahead and put those, make sure do I include short explanation of each one? Yep, it's supposed to be, I'll last an hour. I want it to start at 8 o'clock next Monday, all right? If anybody's busy at that time, we're gonna pick a different time, soonest time after that time, okay? Probably should have finished that up time. So let me go ahead and put that in. By the way, I haven't been doing it because my microphone right now, we're in a meeting. You realize that we're in a meeting, you and I, we're listening. And so my microphone is occupied, but there's a start dictation button here in the prompt window. So if I wasn't using my microphone for this meeting, and I mean, it might actually work, but I didn't want to argue with the hardware about it. I could click that button and then speak, voice to text my prompts to Copilot. And that's a huge time saver because, most of us can talk faster than we can type. Yeah. So, all right. So there's information. There's the bulleted list, Aaron Leach and student 110. Notice I didn't give it the domain, but because it's in my contact list, it picked up the actual name. Okay, so student 10 is not the name, it's student 10 TLG class is the actual name. gave me the title, Fresh Start Cleaning Discussion, the time, right? Oh, it looks like 8 a.m. was not an appropriate time, so it picked 3 p.m., picked that up because somebody was busy, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and click confirm. Forgive me, Aaron, it's actually going to send it to you. So since I added, I had to create the thing and I click confirm, it's actually going to send that email, right? So it tells me the email has been created and sent, all right? Gives me the little meeting details, all the information and so forth. I'm just going to jump over here for a second. This is side pane with student 10, all right? And there just a moment ago, 11:13, 11:13. Created the email. It's not just an email, but it's actually a meeting invitation. There it is. All right. And then, student 10 could go ahead and, respond to that and such. Also, it ends up in my sent box, as you would expect. There's the meeting, 11:12. It took 45 seconds to get to student 10. And so the job's done. So again, I could have just as easily, I'm kind of curious about this. Let's go ahead and try this real quick. No, yeah, see, it's being occupied. My microphone is occupied in this Teams meeting. But if it wasn't, then I'd be able to just speak and say, create an email, send it to George and Mark and Mary and Esmeralda, and this is the topic and this is the information, and make sure you attach this file and prompt them to respond or suggest another time, and then I'm done. I'm moving on to other things. So as fast as I could tell an actual assistant to do that, I can tell Copilot, my assistant, to do it. All right. Looking for any other questions, right? Have access to the training. Thank you for that answer, Aaron. Okay, very good. All right. Just a couple more things that I wanted to point out. So as we're closing up today. So we have a little feedback form that I'm gonna send you a link to that right now, and to the other things that are on the slide. All right, a feedback form, the previously recorded, or this one will be posted in due time, recorded sessions that we have done in the past. There's also links to EnterOne's information on Microsoft classes, and then the Copilot roadmap that Saxton made mention to you about at the beginning of this session. So those links are now in the chat. And so you can go ahead and click on each of those. In fact, you might want to click on each of those. I'm not sure you'll have access to the chat after the webinar is completed. So maybe click on each of those so you'll have access to them. And I want to thank you very much for attending. I think that is all, unless there's any questions. Looking for questions in the Q&A or the chat. If you have any right now, we can go ahead and try to answer those. A moment to do that. Otherwise, being that this is Friday, I hope that you all have a good weekend, and perhaps I'll see you in a class down the road. We'll wait another minute for anybody that wants to type a question. Okay, I guess we're all finished. Once again, I hope that this was useful for you. Hope that you'll enjoy and make use of good Copilot and so forth. So let's see here. Using Copilot to create presentations. Yeah, it's a huge time saver because, I don't know about you, but could and have spent hours tweaking things with, whether it be Word or whether it be PowerPoint. I want it just this way. So now I can, uh, select a paragraph and say, expand that paragraph, and it does it. Or that paragraph is a little bit long. Could you shorten it up a little bit, and it's done. Or this slideshow is 11 slides and I really need it to be 5 and have the same content. Could you combine it? And it does it. So very, very useful. Who can we reach out for additional questions? Aaron, I'm not sure what the answer to that question is. I would say probably Saxton. Saxton, yeah, probably. What am I thinking? Of course, Saxton would be jumping up and down if he was here. So you can see Saxton dot Barnes at EnterOne. Yes, of course, would be. In fact, I'll go ahead and put. Can I copy and paste that? No, not there. Just a second. I can grab it off of the slide. You grab that so you don't have to type it. All right. I'll put that into the chat, and then you will have access to that. So there you go. Saxon is our contact person for all these types of things. So yeah, Saxon's the best first contact. So thank you for asking. All right. Well, I think that's it. I don't see any other questions. I didn't miss anything, did I? No, just not. All right. Again, you all have a good weekend and hope to see you in the class down the road.